Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here at Daytona. The big one is out. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Legacy Sports Car Series here at the virtual Daytona International Speedway for round one of the free-to-join series. As always, my name is James East, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second as we get ready to send our drivers out. Starting on pole, you've got Nicholas Morelli in the LMP2, Carrington also in the LMP2 class, Hunter Monalanis, Jack Forsey, Tim Jonk on Daytona Prototypes, Jacob Money, Johnny Eckert, Cameron Watson running 6th through 8th. Jacob Leon starts 9th. Finley Fitzsimmons starting 10th. Charles Tatum starting 11th. Mark Proctor starting 12th. And then to round out the field, I believe we're going to have Andrew Neri on the grid as well. So looking forward to seeing what's going to happen here tonight as we get ready to take it green here at Daytona. Looks like 12 drivers making their way out. Eckert did not get off to the grid. And as always, I'd like to give a shout out to our race control, Joseph Penn, tonight, for keeping the drivers pointing in the right direction. We are behind our iRacing safety Porsche getting ready to dive down pit road, and we will start this 45-minute long endurance event. LMP2s, Daytona Prototypes, GT1s, and GT3s. Let's get ready to send them out as our two LMP2 drivers make way. That's Morelli and Carrington out front. We've seen in the past some spectacular carnage early on in these events as Morelli holds on to the lead, Carrington in tow. Looks like Matalanis leading Daytona Prototypes as Cameron Watson takes the spot from Jacob Leon, but Leon's going to answer back. Let's check in on our GT3 class as it's Finley Fitzsimmons leading the GT3s, and he's found himself intertwined with the Corvettes of the GT1 class. He's got Mark Proctor right in tow with him in the number 11 Ferrari. And already drivers are pushing very hard to make something happen. Checking in on our Daytona Prototype drivers. Looks like I believe that's going to be Tim Jonk or possibly Jack Forsey having a bit of connectivity issues. You can reference the track map on the lower right-hand side of your screen showing just how close everyone still is as our Honda LMP2 drivers start to stretch their legs here at Daytona. Jonk running looks like a Galaxy-themed Daytona prototype car. Good to see him coming back out this season, trying a different car and seeing what he can do, and good to see the healthy grids out here as well. Your race leader, Nicholas Morelli, is being chased by Casey Carrington on screen, the number 9 Honda LMP2. Carrington trying to keep that draft of Morelli early on to not allow Morelli to extend that half-second gap that he currently has. And we've got problems already. Charlie Tatum shows involved in a crash in the GT3 Ferrari. He will cycle back to 4th in class, 12th overall, and hopefully not too damaged here. We have another battle in the Daytona Prototype class. Hunter Montelanes has Jack Forsey right in tow. Looks like the Daytona Prototype drivers start to extend that gap over the GT1 class ever so slightly. As it stands, the field's pretty much just divided into their respective groups. Not seeing any outer class battles going on right now. It looked like somebody was going off track back there. That may have been Tim Jonk in the Daytona Prototype just ahead of Jacob Money, who is currently leading our GT1 class in the number 24 machine. And up front, the battle for the lead has swapped with the overall leaders as well as the the LMP2 drivers. Carrington has taken over the lead from Nicholas Morelli. Only 2 laps in, these drivers are battling quite fiercely. Let's see if Morelli's going to be able to catch back up to Carrington now that he is in the draft. And right now, this is our closest battle out on track is Casey Carrington and Nicholas Morelli battling for the overall lead here in the LMP2 class. Now we're going to expect the pit window to open up around the the minute 22 mark in the top left side of your screen as Carrington clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 1:38 flat, a 1:37.997. While Forsey clicks off the fastest lap for the Daytona Prototype drivers with a 1:40 flat. Oh my, these guys are making some ground here. Tough to see if and where Carrington's really getting that much momentum over Morelli. It looks like he's carrying about a 10th through the infield, gaining some ground. But Morelli may be set up with a lower downforce package, allowing him to really catch up. Jack Forsey still having his internet issues as well, the 2nd place driver of Daytona Prototypes. As we check in on our GT3 drivers, 2 teammates, Mark Proctor and Andrew Neri. Neri in the 654 BMW, Proctor in the number 11 Ferrari are separated by just 2 tenths here. Proctor looks to the inside line of his teammate, can't quite make it happen just yet. Now I know the newer generation of these Ferrari 488s are wickedly fast on the straights. It's going to be interesting to see if it can carry the same in the legacy version that we're racing out here today. As Proctor has caught the draft of Neri in the bright pink Barbie-backed BMW. Now these 2 drivers surely know they're not going to do themselves any favors as class leader Fitzsimmons has extended his lead to about 7 seconds in class. And now we're going to check in the battle for GT1s, and my oh my, what a battle it is. Cameron Watson, the number 48 machine, right on the back bumper of Money. No, that's going to be Jacob Leon, I believe, in tow. So this is the battle for 2nd in class. Cameron Watson in the all-white number 48 machine being chased by Leon in the 72. Listen to that American muscle getting thrown down on the track. Always great seeing those cars out there, and such a sound to behold. Now, as you reference the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, the field getting a little bit strung out here on that mini-map, as it were. The blue is our LMP2s. The red is our Daytona Prototype drivers. And speaking of, we may have problems as Forsey shows involved in a crash, but that may have just been his internet issues. Yes, it was. So as we were saying, blue is LMP2s, red is Daytona Prototype, green is GT1, and the orange will be our GT3 drivers. As it looks like Jacob Money leading the GT1, starting to catch up to Jonk, who's in a different class, but Money trying to extend himself into the top 5 overall tonight. Now, in the past, we've seen lower speed classes such as our GT1s, our Daytona Prototypes, bring home overall wins in season pass, so that's something to keep an eye on here today. So let's see if Money, the class leader in the number 24 Aston Martin, will be able to catch up to Tim Jonk and work his way inside the top 5 overall. And while we were checking back here a little bit further, we did have a pass for the lead. Nicholas Morelli took over the number 1 spot once more from Carrington. So the number 14 LMP2 will get some more laps led here in Daytona. Oh, that's not good. Charlie Tatum finds himself pointed the wrong direction. And now he will cycle back to 4th in class for our GT3s. Penning back to 7th overall in the battle for 2nd in GT1s. That is Cameron Watson and Jacob Leon putting on a show. Putting the power down. Here comes Jacob Leon. Is he going to bump draft? No, he looks to the outside as they cross the start-finish line. Getting ready to dive it in deep into turn 1 here at Daytona. And both of those Corvettes running nose to tail. I'm curious to see if they're going to try and work together and peel away the 3-second gap that Jacob Money has in class. As here's the battle for the overall lead once more. That is Nicholas Morelli, Casey Carrington. Carrington going to the inside line. Looks to have it secured here as they get ready to go into the bus stop. Now some new curbing added here at Daytona that could upset the flow a little bit into turns 3 and 4. NASCAR turns 3 and 4, I should say. But Carrington has it figured out. He ran the Daytona 24-hour race. Granted, that wasn't a GT3, so a little bit slightly different driving than hopping in the LMP2, the cockpit of these high downforce machines. But Carrington definitely has the seat time at this track to feel comfortable. And fairly soon, they will start catching up the traffic as they make their way into turn 1. They will be quickly catching up to Charlie Tatum, the number 42 Ferrari. Now I'm looking forward to calling the action for all these events. Now we are having an off week next week before we come back February 19th for Road America. So it's not too late to join. We will have a link to the Legacy Sports Car Discord in the channel description. You can join in and race some very inexpensive cars with some great competition at the low entry price of $3.99. Running every Saturday, broadcasted here on the Team Goon Squad Network. Now, besides Carrington and Morelli running up front here in the LMP2s, the field relatively stretched out. And still, Carrington holds on to it here after making that pass around the banking. But here comes lap traffic in the form of, I believe that it's going to be Charlie Tatum up next in the Gulf painted Ferrari. It looks like Tatum's going to drag the brakes slightly to allow the faster class by, uncontested here. Now, is Morelli going to be able to catch up to Carrington? Carrington's extended that gap to about a half second before they make their way into the bus stop. Looks like Carrington's going to hold on to it, but Morelli's found some time now within 0.3 of your overall race leader as well as LMP2 leader, Kasey Carrington. And looks like Carrington's going to hold on to it. We've got a battle for second in class with our GT3s. Proctor still on the heels of the 654 of Andrew Neri, but now they've got the overall race leaders just behind them. Now this is going to be tough for your race leaders as they know the cars in front are battling for position, but here comes Carrington going to stick his nose in alongside Proctor. Proctor run the number 11 this time by. Interesting to see him with a different number choice. He hops out of line very quickly as Carrington and Morelli come charging through the field. And it looks like the LMP2 drivers will get through traffic without too much problems as Proctor didn't lose a whole lot of time to Neri there. Still staying with the BMW going into the bus stop as the overall race leaders flick it through. And we may have problems. Proctor finds himself in the cheap seats in that number 11 machine. This is going to allow Neri to extend his gap to over 10 seconds here. We did get confirmation that Jacob Leon is out of the race in that number 72 GT1. As the race leaders still giving it everything they've got, expecting that fuel window to open up around the minute 22 mark. 22 minutes in the top left is when we're expecting the fuel window to open. Historically, the LMP2 drivers will come in right around that halfway mark. They'll take only fuel and double stint their tires. While the GT3 drivers and sometimes the GT1 drivers can stretch out the fuel run a little bit longer and change their strategy around. So always interesting to see what the drivers out on course decide to do, talking to their crew chiefs and spotter on what's going to be best. But Morelli may have the advantage here as he will be able to see when Carrington's going to come down pit road and initiate that green flag stop. And absolutely flying through the bus stop here at Daytona. Carrington holds on to that 3/10 gap. Morelli trying his best to stay in tow. Oh, look at that. Morelli goes in too deep into turn one, narrowly avoids getting to the back of Carrington. Carrington, if he was checking those rearview mirrors, he had wide eyes seeing that number 14 machine come barreling into turn one. Soon, once more, Carrington Morelli will be facing traffic here at Daytona. That will be the number 6 of Finley Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons leading the GT3s on his lonesome out here. He currently has about a 30-second gap in that number 6 Ferrari. As Fitzsimmons throws it through the bus stop, he must know the overall race leaders are short behind. 4/10 and I believe closing fast. Now this will be interesting. Hopefully the LMP2 drivers will be able to clear Fitzsimmons before diving into turn one, because that will be an exciting spot. Looks like Fitzsimmons drops down low. Not sure if he's coming down pit road. No, I can't imagine he was. Just hopping down early to give the race leaders a wide berth here, because everyone on track and fans alike know that Carrington and Morelli are driving at the absolute limit. Both drivers running almost identical lap times last time by, both with 137s. As it looks like Carrington still holding on to it, not having any problems here. Now it'll be quite a while before they have to face traffic again, so they've got clean track ahead and behind them. As we go a little bit further back, Jacob Money, he'll be contending with traffic as well in the form of GT3 drivers. Looks like that's going to be Proctor and Neri right in front. Look at that. Money looking for a way through lap traffic. Able to clear by Proctor nice and easy. Proctor goes high to allow the GT1 race leader to make his way by. And this is always exciting for everybody out on track. You have to worry about both your own race as well as everybody else out on track. Cameron Watson in a Corvette, the number 48. He will be the next one to catch up to Proctor in that number 11 Ferrari. Good to see a lot of familiar faces out here coming back for this season of the Legacy Sports Cars. Second season these guys have ran, and the grids just keep getting bigger and bigger as the word gets out. As let's see how Watson's going to be able to clear traffic, able to do so nice and clean. Now, looks like Money's starting to catch up to some more GT3 drivers as well as the Daytona Prototype class. He's getting more and more comfortable in that number 24 as he makes his way around. Looks like the GT1 drivers aren't losing much time at all in the infield, but once these faster machines such as the Daytona Prototypes get out onto the high banks of Daytona, that's where they're able to really extend that gap and put the power down. It'll be interesting to see if Money can catch up to any of these drivers and catch the draft and maybe pull his way up further into the field. Still looking for that top 5 in that GT1. As Carrington and Morelli have put a lap on a majority of the field at this point of the race, just about at the halfway mark. So this is when you can expect to see drivers coming down pit road. As we say that, Modelanis leading the Daytona Prototypes, he's going to come diving down pit road. Jack Forsey will follow. And let's see who else decides to join the party. Tim Jonk also going to come down pit road. So all of the Daytona Prototype drivers on pit road at the same time here. As your race leader, Casey Carrington, followed still close in hot pursuit by Nicholas Morelli. The two LMP2 drivers absolutely charging here today. They're going to stretch out those fuel tanks as long as they possibly can. As Hunter Modelanis leaves pit road, still leading the Daytona Prototype class. But that has allowed a couple of GT1 drivers to move up in position. Looks like Modelanis, Forsey, and Jonk almost having identical pit times here, all hovering right at that 15-second mark to throw fuel in the car to make it to the end. And again, you won't see any drivers taking tires here today unless they had an off-track excursion or a major spin. And our LMP2 drivers of Carrington and Morelli should be in and out of pit road extremely quickly. These machines fuel up quite fast. So it is only the current on-track Daytona Prototype drivers that have come down pit road altogether. Everyone else still staying out past the halfway mark here today. Well, looks like a few of the GT1 guys, Jacob Money, Cameron Watson coming out pit road. Hunter Modelanis moves up to third in the Daytona Prototype overall. As now Carrington comes down pit road and Morelli stays out, opting to go another lap in his number 14 LMP2. So let's see if Morelli will come in this time by. Carrington in and out of his box in 18.6 seconds. We'll have to see how fast Morelli is on pit road. Fitzsimmons, the first GT3 driver, opting to come down and get serviced. As Morelli will cut through traffic once more. That'll be Tim Jonk in the Daytona prototype, making way for the overall race leader. And now Morelli will come down pit road. We'll keep an eye out on how long his pit window is, as Carrington will be looking to take over that race lead once more. So let's see. Looks like almost identical pit times between the two. Carrington was in his stall for 18.6 seconds. Morelli in his stall for 18.4. Where are they going to be rejoining at? And Carrington will be in second. How far back will he be? Showing as 2 seconds behind your race leader, Morelli. Morelli now the overall leader once more. Can Carrington put the hammer down and catch up with that 2.1 second differential? We have another battle out on track as well between Cameron Watson and Jacob Money. 8/10 separating the battle for the lead in GT1. Money in the Aston Martin, Watson in the Corvette. And no, we've got problems for Fitzsimmons leading the GT3 class. He's off track in the infield. He still has a wide 45-second margin, but that is all it takes to throw it away and throw away a perfectly good win. Hopefully he doesn't have too much damage on the Skyback number 6 Ferrari. A tale as old as time. It just takes one mistake to throw away a perfectly good race win. Jacob Money still leading the GT1 class. He's chased very closely by Watson. Watson trying to get up there and catch up. Looks like Jacob Leon and Charlie Tatum are both out of the event. Eckert had that did not start here today, and here we go, the battle for the lead in GT1 as Cameron Watson right on the back bumper of Jacob Money through the bus stop. That is what 3/10 at 190 miles an hour looks like on the high banks of Daytona. And here we go. Cameron Watson makes the pass on the inside line. Jacob Money returns the favor. Watson goes wide in turn 1. And we've got some more racing left to do. The win for GT1 all but decided as Cameron Watson giving it the business, doing everything he can do to reel in Jacob Money. Now that last time by, Watson clicked off his personal fastest lap of the race and the fastest GT1 lap time with a 1:41.08. Money was able to drop down to a 1:40.72, but that was quite a while ago. So Watson getting it figured out later in the race. He's going to keep the pressure on Money as long as he can to try and force a mistake out of the driver of that 24 Aston Martin. And I wonder if Money can hear anything over the onboard of Cameron Watson, because that Corvette is loud, loud, loud. as we go on board with Cameron Watson. Putting the power down the Corvette. Let's see how things fare through the bus stop. Ooh, that may be an off track for Watson. And it's sure looking so, as Jacob Money has extended that gap to over a second now. I believe Watson got a slowdown there, cutting too far left through the bus stop. He was giving it everything he had and may have just sent it a little bit too hard. Hate to see that for Watson. That was shaping up to be a spectacular race. Up front, it is still Nicholas Morelli, and Carrington now finds himself 1.3 seconds back. Carrington's been gaining a 10th here, a 10th there, and ooh, gains a little bit more in there, gaining about 3/10 that last time by. So he's doing his best to reel in Morelli. Morelli seems to be very strong in the infield here at Daytona. As we keep an eye on the live timing and scoring tower on the left side of your screen. We've got about 13 minutes left to go in this main event, and I still don't think it's quite decided who's going to bring home the first overall win of the season. Could be Morelli, could be Carrington. And as we've seen before, they could crash into each other, and it could be somebody completely different. Carrington still 1.4 back, tantalizingly close to Morelli. And he's only got 12 minutes left to try and make something happen. He cannot afford any mistakes and has to count on Morelli to maybe make some slip-ups of his own. But Morelli's going to answer with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:36.89. He is feeling good, and the car is coming into his liking. He ran just about 0.04 of a second faster than Carrington last time by. The lap prior, Carrington gained 0.2, so I'm not sure if Morelli's getting it figured out or what may be going on. And we have word that the number 22 machine, Tim Jonk, he has an off-track excursion before coming out into the high bankings of NASCAR Turn 2. Doesn't look like too much damage on that Daytona prototype. Is that an anime paint scheme? I think it is. Yes, it is indeed. Though since the world famous Gareth McAllister wasn't here for round one, I guess somebody's got to carry the torch. We won't look too closely, afraid of what we may see, but Tim Jonk running strong, still third in the Daytona prototype class. Now, I'm fairly certain Jonk was consistently in the LMP2 last season, so he's switching up a little bit and trying something different. Now, if you look on the live timing map on the bottom right, it looks like Morelli is going to have traffic to face soon enough, as he has a healthy mix of GT3s and GT1s ahead of him, and even a couple Daytona prototypes. As Morelli sets yet again a fastest lap of the race at 1:36.6, he is still finding time late in the race, 10 minutes left to go. How will he be able to navigate traffic out here today with the slower class cars ahead of him? Because right now it's Morelli leading the LMP2s, Model Honest leading Daytona prototype. You've got Jacob Money leading the GT1s and Finley Fitzsimmons leading GT3s by a very comfortable margin here. As I believe that is Fitzsimmons going a lap down once more to Morelli. Morelli and Carrington not losing much time here. Carrington actually was probably came out a little bit better there with lap traffic, dropping about 2 to 3 tenths. Now 1.1 behind your race leader. And Morelli using lap traffic in their draft to pull up just a little bit closer, finding even more time. But now Carrington has it under less than a second for the first time in several laps, and now it's going to be Carrington with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:36 flat. He has dropped 6 tenths from Morelli's fastest lap time. But we've got more problems as Proctor shows involved in an incident. Trying to get it pointing in the right direction, putting the power down too quickly. The exact same spot that we saw Jonk have his spin around. As we pan back to Morelli, he will have the luxury of cutting through traffic once more. He's right behind Jacob Money and the GT1, the class leader of Money. Doesn't want to lose too much time as he knows he has Watson about 3 seconds off his back bumper. And you can count on Morelli not taking his time here. He's going to try and get through traffic as quickly as he possibly can. Going high on the banking. Carrington 9 tenths back and closing. Morelli and Money, 2 class leaders, but it's Morelli, the overall leader, punching a massive hole in the air. Where is Carrington going to come in here as he's going to use that massive draft to work his way in the bus stop, but doesn't want to get stuck behind Money for too long through the bus stop. The drive's so important out of there. And unfortunately, that will slow Carrington's run down. He will lose what may be up to 2 tenths. And what is going on with Proctor, the poor number 11 DeWalt machine? Just hammering that poor Ferrari, puns intended. But Proctor is still running comfortably in third in the GT3 class. As we pan back to your overall race leader as well as Honda LMP2 leader, Morelli, as Tim Jonk goes off track just ahead. Ooh, watch the rejoin. Able to see in his mirrors there's no traffic coming, but that could have been quite exciting quite quickly, as that has allowed Jacob Money in the GT1 class to move up to 5th overall for the first time tonight. Carrington still 9 tenths back from your race leader. Does he have enough time left? Oh, look at the time gain there, now within a half second. Carrington carrying just a few more miles an hour out of the bus stop, able to really help him in the long drive here. He's on the draft. He's caught the wing of Morelli. 2 tenths separating the two as they cross the start-finish line in the tri-oval. Let's see how things shake up going into turn 1. Lap traffic quickly hopping out of the way. He realizes there's a race going on and he does not want to get tied up in it. That's Proctor, making the line as easily accessible as he possibly can. Carrington drops back to about a half second behind Morelli. This is spectacular racing. Couldn't ask for a better opening round. And once more, it is only a handful of tenths separating Morelli and Carrington. Looks like Morelli may have got a better drive through the bus stop that time by. But Carrington's going to do his best to stay in tow of that number 14 LMP2. It is going to be down to the wire. The seconds are rapidly ticking off. Not much time left for Carrington to try and make a move. Now, generally on a regular super speedway race, you do not want to be the lead car on the last lap. But Morelli's going to do his best to keep that half-second buffer that he has to Carrington, to keep Carrington out of that immediate draft so he will not be able to slingshot towards the win here at the end. .3 separating the two drivers on the backstretch of Daytona, getting ready to set up for the bus stop, but they've got traffic ahead. That's Neri in the 6x4 machine. Neri running second in the GT3 class has got to know there is a storm brewing behind him as Morelli quickly hops out of line, and it looks like Carrington does the same. Both of those LMP2 drivers trying to use the draft of Neri as long as they can. A quarter of a second separating Morelli and Carrington. Carrington pushing hard here on the final stretch. It'll be Morelli at the line. Carrington looks to the outside line going into turn one. This will be a battle of braking. Carrington tries to set up for the longest run possible heading into the infield. But Morelli seems to have that LMP2 on rails through turn one, carrying unfathomable speed. Carrington looks to the inside line, side by side with Morelli, backs out of it. Maybe had a bit of a bobble there. It's going to allow Morelli to pull another 10th on Carrington. Head into the horseshoe here at Daytona. The spectators are on their feet. There's not a lot of time left at all. Carrington has gotten tantalizingly close several laps to try and measure up Morelli. And here comes traffic once more with Jonk. No, that's Forsey in the number 74 Daytona prototype, just ahead of your race leaders. He's been having a bit of connectivity issues the entire race, so this will be interesting to see. Carrington does not have the drive he wants onto the back stretch. Laps prior, he's been able to keep that gap around 3-4 tenths, but now it's over half a second, 6-7 tenths going to the bus stop. What type of speed can Carrington carry here? He still holds the fastest lap of the race. Lap traffic of Jack Forsey going high. As you can see, Forsey with yet another massive blink. 3 tenths difference here at the line. Carrington was 3 tenths slower as well that lap. Ooh, it looks like Carrington too hard on the brakes, but can he make something happen here as he looks to the inside line of Montelanis? Right on the gearbox of the Honda LMP2. Carrington looks to the outside line. Montelanis guards the inside curbing. Oh, this is going to be close. This is the closest Carrington has been in several laps through the infield, holding on to less than 2 tenths. Morelli tags the grass. I'm losing it up here in the booth. This is quite exciting. But just like that, Morelli extends the gap back once more to 6 tenths through the International Horseshoe. What type of drive can Carrington get out onto NASCAR turns 1 and 2? He's 6 tenths back from Morelli. We've seen this move work out before, but Morelli finding a way to really get the speed up on the banking here. Now Morelli did come in 1 lap later, so maybe he's running a slightly less fuel load. It's tough to tell. Carrington with a bit of an off track there. Let's see if he gets a slowdown. Doesn't look like he's yielding any time here, but not quite in the draft of Morelli. And it looks like it's going to be Morelli here at the end of the day as the checkered flag flies. Yes, it is Nicholas Morelli bringing home the win here today. After a wild race, these two Honda LMP2 drivers, only two LMP2s out on track, but man, oh man, did they put on a show for the entirety of the 45-minute event here today. As we take a look at the results for the LMP2s, it's Nicholas Morelli and Casey Carrington putting on a fantastic show out here. The Daytona Prototype drivers will be scored as Hunter Madalanis, Jack Forsey, Tim Junk, and Johnny Eckert with the DNS here today. We've got our GT3 drivers. Finley Fitzsimmons brings home the win. Andrew Neri second, and Mark Proctor will round out the podium. And finally, the GT1 drivers out here today. Jacob Money, Cameron Watson, and Jacob Leon rounding out the podium. That will be our overall results. A very important detail. Check out Jacob Money scoring inside the top 5 here today in the GT1 class. Quite an accomplishment as these drivers had a great race all through the night. On behalf of Legacy Sports Car Series as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you in 2 weeks at the same time and same place. Have a great night, everyone.